Hello, everybody. It is April 24th. Sorry, I had a little pause there. And this is Three Things with Ian. You are watching episode 114. Welcome. On today's episode, we're going to dive into a little more Boston Marathon. Not quite done yet. We're going to talk about Chipotle, doing something hasn't done before, and something near and dear to my heart. Little corgis running as fast as their little legs can take them. Okay. And you can see my smile on my face for that. All right, let's dive in. And yes, I will have to post some photos, some pictures of the second story because it won't really make sense without that. So big news from the Chipotle Mexican Grill. That's its official name. I didn't realize that. Chipotle is opening its first location in Mexico. Yes, although there are 90 international units open since 2008, including 58 in Canada and 20 in the UK, Chipotle has never expanded to the native land of many of its dishes. Now, though, it's finally opening a Mexican outpost. And this could be the perfect time. Why? Avocados from Mexico. As prices of produce imported from Mexico are expected to rise because of you-know-who and his terrible tariffs, Chipotle is on a mission to find avocados from alternate sources. Opening a restaurant in its primary supplying country not only keeps menu prices low in stores in that region, but also could help hedge against future tariffs, higher costs, by staying close to the source. So, we'll see how it goes. It's kind of one of those stories that I had to read twice because I couldn't quite figure out why they hadn't yet gone south of the border. Hopefully it'll go better than their, older brother, Taco Bell, whose chain slogan was literally "make a run for the border." I kid you not. It didn't fail once, but it failed twice expanding into Mexico. As of today, while there are nearly 9,000 Taco Bells across the world, there is not a single Taco Bell in Mexico, the country that inspired its food. So anyway, first story is Chipotle is going south of the border. God, I have fond memories. There was a great Mexican restaurant, not fast food, not a franchise, and I loved going there. Huge portions, the enchiladas, chips and salsa before a meal just make me so happy. It's such a treat. I can't quite describe to you how much right now I would just gnaw in on just nosh some chips and salsa. But anyway, when I was 21, I did a tequila shot and I had a little worm in it, and I have a shirt that I'll have to pull out or something. Anyway, back. I mean, this whole podcast is just segues upon segues and divergences and all that stuff. So, yesterday, so I have a corgi named Pippa. You may have seen her a few times. I was perusing the internet, trying to get it all inspired. I wore a tropical shirt and it was 80 degrees, so that worked for me. The third annual Corgi Derby, right? A tribute to Queen Elizabeth. She had a fondness to the nth degree for corgis. She owned and loved on 20 plus corgis during her reign. Anyway, the Musselburgh Racecourse in Scotland. They had a Corgi Derby. 230-foot course. Remember, corgis, their legs are like this, literally. They're about 3 or 4 inches. What's cool is I'll post some photos. Like, each corgi had on like a little racing like onesie with the number, kind of reminiscent of like the Kentucky Derby with the horses. Anyway, the winner got treats from Andy Murray is a famous tennis player. His mom is named Judy. She was kind of the, MC, whatever, the person passing out the dog treats. And the winning dog's name gets publications, all around the world, probably not much in the U.S. Anyway, this year, a corgi named Juno won. And there's some really cute photos of corgis they have their game face on. They're just engaged and they're running as fast as they can. Anyway, so I'll post some corgi pictures. I've tried to get my own corgi in a couple different races. All the local sporting teams are right now doing corgi races and baby races, and it's kind of in vogue. So, there are not a lot of corgis, but people who have corgis like to do things with their corgis, so it gets competitive. Anyway, another race we need to talk about is, so the Boston Marathon is about speed over time. It's about giving it your best, and it's about technology. Yes, technology has found its way into the heart of racing. Boston delivered a phenomenal race. Perfect temps, absurdly fast field, and prototype shoes underfoot. The result of all these fast humans wearing really expensive fast gear, the fastest top 15 averages in race history. This was a superbly fast race. 1 through 10, 1 through 15, all just absolutely crushed it. Of course, we had a course record from Sharon Lacuti in her Under Armour unreleased super shoes, and a breakthrough win for John Carroll in his ASICS Next Gen Metaspeed Sky prototype. So these names just get nuts because when they can do whatever they want with these names, and so you'll hear some crazy ones. So Adidas, Puma, and a company named On, I think I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know how else I pronounce it. They all had their runners in unreleased prototype gear, top of the line, super secret. It's kind of reminds me of like the B-15 stealth bomber, where the military doesn't release all the different specs on it. Anyway, we are entering a hyper shoe arms race where we have people, average Joes and Janes, willing to spend $280+ on the most expensive carbon-plated light racing shoes on the planet. So let's get into a little bit on this. So our winner, John Carroll, Korir, Kenyan, he surged to victory. He ran 440 miles on average. That's incredible. Just saying that, I feel so slow. Anyway, he had the second fastest time in Boston history. He ran a 2:04:45. On his feet were the fastest overall pair of shoes, obviously, a pair of Metaspeed Sky prototype by ASICS, a company that's been around forever, but maybe not like Nike, maybe not like Brooks. Anyway, ASICS Next Gen Super Shoe is currently in development. They must be thrilled that they're getting all this publicity. New foam compound. It's specifically designed for race day, top tier athletes. But for ASICS, this is more than a podium finish. It's a proof of concept, right? They have a team of engineers who spend millions of dollars and hundreds of hours fine tuning and building the most powerful top tier race day weapon they can. And it'll be available like in 2 years for us, for average consumers. So anyway, on the women's side, Sharon Lokedi. Lokedi? Anyway, she had a course record, 2:17:22. Absolutely flying out there, guys. She wore another brand that's a little bit under the radar, Under Armour. She had Under Armour Velocity, spelled wrong, Elite 3. And this woman's already won New York and Boston. So she is like the premier top female athlete right now in running. I would expect her to be in the headlines for multiple years. Anyway, this new shoe, carbon plate, positioned higher than before. There's so much. There's midsole foam, ultra thin web rubber outsole, weighing in at a claimed 7.7 ounces. That is a light shoe. It's the lightest plated. So this carbon plating, it allows for more elasticity and rebounding, and you get more of that energy back into your feet. But it weighs something, right? So this is the lightest shoe of its kind. This shoe won't launch until late next year. And the other brand, this is like one of those shoes that looks like it's spray painted on. It's a minimalist upper and exposed carbon plate for max propulsion. Think about this as like race day only. There's no fluff. This is a shoe you race for 26.2 miles on, and then it goes in the trash, which is crazy to think about because this shoe's going to retail for $300. But anyway, they have a very interesting style of shoe. It's almost like a thick sock. It's a very minimalist white on white. Everything's exposed. Nothing. I think it's probably just so it's as light as humanly possible. But anyway, so you had ASICS, Under Armour, and On. Interesting. Those are your top three. Anyway, so if Boston 2024 was a brand battle, this year was a science fair. Nearly half of the top finishers were laced into something unreleased, untested by the masses, and optimized for the margins. My takeaway? Innovation isn't slowing down, and the lines between the lab and the open roads are increasingly blurring each year. The era of hyper shoes is just starting. I don't think 5 or 10 years ago there was any post publications about the actual shoes athletes are wearing. And when I Googled Boston Marathon 2025, 7 out of the top 12 articles basically mention prototypes, shoes, technology. Is this good for the sport? It's going to bring some more PRs. If you think about 1 or 2% advantage, that's gonna redound down to a minute or two on the course. And if the minute or two brings you into first place versus fifth place, then the gap between the elite athletes is just going to be a race to who has the best technology on their feet. They all train basically the same way. You run some fast miles, some slow miles, you run some repeats, but what you have on your body matters. So materials and technologies from these prototypes will eventually come back down to us. I will probably still go to Dick's Sporting Goods and get a pair of shoes for far less than $280 and far heavier. But no matter what shoe I wear, you will not be seeing me on a podium. Anyway, those are my stories today. Technology and shoes, this is the beginning of a long arms race to the top. We talked about corgis. I will post some pictures if I can. And Chipotle has made its way to Mexico. Avocados from Mexico. Good night, everybody.